Hi guys, this is my second recording on how to install a local server of DayZ on your PC. I'm referring to this video here, but I will just be injecting more reassurances into how this works.
It will install it, won't
starting with the fact. So to begin with, you will want to install DayZ server. So just like in your library, how with your games you will have DayZ that you have installed or uninstalled, there will also be tools that you can display here, and DayZ server, just DayZ server, will be in there that you can install and uninstall if need be. When that is fully installed, under Program Files, Steam Apps Common, you'll have DayZ server next to DayZ. So keep in mind that when you're running a DayZ server on your hard drive, you're going to be using twice as many mods. One for your DayZ client when you're playing in other DayZ servers, and another lot for when you're running your own local server that your client will also connect to. So in my case, my E drive here is devoted entirely to DayZ. No other Steam apps are here.
And then once you've done just DayZ, it is.
So once he explains that, he then explains that there is a batch file that you'll need to create. The link that he provides.
But then after I want to perfect.
Is writecorepy.com. Just visit that URL, search for DayZ, and look for his 2016 guide, installing and setting up a standalone DayZ server on Windows. And there is this batch file contents for the start command. You copy all of that, and then you will paste it into a new file and then save it in your DayZ server directory as start.bat. We're going to call that start01.bat since there's one in there already that I don't want to override. And so ScaleSpeeder will also go on to mention that he uses a text editing program called Notepad++. And this is basically your Windows Notepad with the ability to display colors for particular syntaxes. So as soon as I say start.bat, start01.bat, because it's a bat file, it knows that it requires the syntax for that batch file. So all the comments with these double colons here are coming up in green. So you can tell the comments from the commands. So here I can change the name to Two Toes server, and he will also be explaining here that one thing that you must not forget to put in is this parameter here. Profiles equals config. What this will do is place the config folder for your DayZ server here in the DayZ server directory, rather than somewhere in your documents DayZ folder where all your profile information is. Really, you want to have everything to do with your DayZ server in your DayZ server directory. So it's a huge convenience to be able to have the config folder here. And I'll show you what goes in there a bit later. There will also be the server config file, the server DayZ CFG file. He explains that a bit later. Right now, what I have is just no mods running in my start batch file. Now, this server DayZ CFG file ScaleSpeeder explains the purpose of this round about here. Refers you to this website here, Community by Studio, and you're basically copying the whole contents of this file, all this code for the main parameters, pasting it into a new text file, and then saving that also in your DayZ server directory as server DayZ. I'm going to put 01 here on the end just to make sure I don't overwrite my existing one, .cfg. So here's where you put in your server name. Mine would be Toto Test, is what I usually call mine. I have never really touched any of these other parameters. But it does help to change the time. The server time from system time to a time that you always want, like the day isn't too important, but if you make the hour 10 a.m., it means that it will always be daylight when your server loads for the first time. Now, the other thing is that in this server DayZ file, there will be class missions, and you'll have that template, DayZ offline Chernarus Plus. This is in missions folder that is inside MP missions on DayZ server, and DayZ offline Chernarus Plus there. So you'll have your database files in here. They may be familiar. Environment XML files, I believe the territories where all the creatures spawn. And then you have the storage file. And this is where all the data of where players have spawned and what loot spawned in your server appears here. So when you wipe your server, you're deleting storage 1 there. And you may find you're doing that a bit when you're swapping mods in your local server. If a mod suddenly stops working, one method is to delete your storage, which means that if you build a base on that map, it's gone. It will be gone. But so will any conflicts you might be having. So, yeah, if in doubt, you can always delete the storage and wipe the server if you can't get that server to run due to a mod. So that is the one that I just pasted in, server DayZ CFG. This is the one that I'm using. I've also included in this, that was not included in that thing, in that text that was copied before, enable CFG gameplay file equals 1. So in DayZ Offline Chernarus Plus, CFG gameplay JSON, that's all the stamina controls. So if I want an unlimited stamina, that is the file that I'd be modifying. Modifying that file won't do anything to the game unless enable CFG gameplay file is turned on with a 1. This also has DayZ Offline Chernarus Plus turned on. I'm just going to get this running now. So just run that start bat. And now I will go to library DayZ. Right. Go to LAN, and there it is, Chernarus Plus. So I can already look at the details here, and there's no mods, no content required by the server. And just go straight on and join that. Looks like I've double clicked this batch file, and now I've got 2 instances of the server running. That's not actually an issue at the moment. I'll just leave that running. So I've got comments here in my server DayZ CFG file. with the double forward slashes. Just as a reference for me to know when to bring in the other files. So that's to Chernarus, mission files to Chernarus, mission files for Livonia, mission files for Deer Isle, the Malsk, and for Banff. So, as we're running this at the moment, this is the start bat that I'm running. Right here. And this is all that's in it. We've modified, put in this profiles.config folder so that it runs from, makes that config folder and runs, gets its configs from those. But we're running no mods at all. So when we have no mods in here, in the start bat, and then in our server DayZ CFG file, we have DayZ offline Chernarus Plus, then we end up loading in Chernarus here at Chernigorsk. So I'm a freshie, go to my options, controls, and if I had any mods that required controls, then I'd be seeing other controls in here. But otherwise, this is, there's no mods, this is totally vanilla DayZ. And this little status black box that I've got here in the top right, that is a initc script that I'm using. I won't go into that at the moment. But yes, that local server is running. If you have any doubts and you're having trouble getting your local server running, load up Chernarus Plus, turn off all your mods, and see if you can still load up Chernarus with no mods. And that will tell you that your issue is a mod and not DayZ server itself. So I'm closing both that batch window and the console window to close down that server. So when I want to, the scale speeder here describes that there is some power in this because you can then have different batch files, start batch files for different situations. That's partly true. Yes, if you want to control what mods you load. That's my Chernarus no mods set up there. Now I can run Livonia with mods, which I'm going to do here by copying a comment that I've got here and pasting it over the top of my start line, and then I'm commenting that to make the new start line. Saving that, and I will change that to Enoch and Livonia, and then rerun my server again. So I closed the server before. It's no longer showing on LAN. But now I have Livonia. And these mods have also been loaded. Expansion core, license animations and vehicles, the mods needed to get helicopters of expansion, and community framework also needed for expansion, DABS framework, and then VPP admin tools to get admin tools to bring in those helicopters. So now my start line for the batch file contains this mod parameter, dash mod equals, and then at CF for the at CF mod in my DayZ serve directory, DABS framework, VPP admin tools, and DayZ expansion. All that in that one parameter there. Oops, and I just selected a whole lot of other stuff. That parameter there. To get these mods into your DayZ server, it's a case of going to your DayZ directory, going to the workshop, finding these basically kind of shortcuts, copying them, and then just pasting them into your DayZ server. So this is Livonia. You can see that I now have VPP admin tools and expansion. The keybinds. Press N to turn on VPP admin tools. Spawn my items. And when I type in expansion, yep, so there's everything there. Drop in a moment. Not in my inventory. Must be in the wrong seat. So there you go. So those are those mods that you saw there. So if I were to load the mouse, close these again. Now something else as well. Now that I've run Livonia with expansion and VP admin tools as mods, that config folder now has the expansion mod configs and the VPP admin tools configs available here. So I can now set up permissions for who can be admins on VPP admin, as well as logging options there. And with the expansion mod, there will be things, loadouts for the AI being the most important part. So I'll just close these again to reload them. So I'm going to select the line that I've got for the mouse, copy it in here, and I'll comment it, save that, server, DayZ no longer doing the Livonia mission files, we're doing the mouse mission files. Saving that. So you can run that start batch file again. I've made a shortcut for mine and then put it here in my menu. So I'll run it from there. So all these mods that you copy from DayZ to here for your server to run, they're not going to run unless you find the key inside that will always be in this keys folder. Copy that, find the keys in your DayZ server, and then paste it in here. So you've got the DABS framework key in here, the VPP admin tools keys in here too, and the CF tools key is this one. These keys, the mod's keys, must be copied into this keys folder for that mod to run. So in the case of the mouse, we've got the mouse island for the map and the mouse survival for the gameplay features. Simrack key for both of them. There it is there. So there's the mouse ready to load. And you can see that it has all these mods in there, including the expansion vehicles and the mouse survival and the mouse island. So that, the mouse island and mouse survival, Paragon gear in there as well. And a G gear there as well. But to run the mouse, I need the mouse island mod, the mouse survival mod, and have server DayZ running the regular mouse mission file. If I'm running Deer Isle, in this comment below, obviously I only need Deer Isle to run the map. There you have it. I'm in the Malsk. I can also spawn in a Merlin. And this bag and these guns here were here when I last logged in. And of course I'm wearing Paragon gear as well. And on top of that I can spawn in AI from the expansion mod as well, and he's off to grab a gun to shoot me. And obviously that's empty. Cool.